thought I'd make a video on my Devanti ice maker. This model is the square cubed. I've had this unit for 3 to 4 years. So yeah, just thought I'd do an overall opinion on it after that time of use. Reason being, I accidentally spilled some water when I was filling up the top reservoir up here under the control panel, and it wouldn't turn on one morning, so I've ordered a new model. It's a nugget ice maker, but it's decided to come back to life. So before it gets replaced, I was like, oh, I might make a video on it. Anyway, so we've used this unit, like I said, 3 to 4 years. Normally only 2 people, but we will fill up full-size Yetis, make drinks, cocktails, and then what's left over goes in the freezer. It'll even do, so if we have like 10 to 15 people over and you're making drinks and stuff, it will do that easily. As long as you keep the water up to it, it'll keep making ice basically. You've got to make sure you turn it on in advance before you have a number of people around, because it does take a while to get going. But anyway, on the front here, that's your temperature inside the room. It's not particularly accurate, especially if it's up close against the wall like it is here, because it's getting the heat from the machine. On this one here is your time remaining for ice, so that's 2 minutes. That's your thickness level. That there just tells you where it's making ice. Obviously that's power. It is backlit. You hold down these 2 buttons, I believe. Should now it's blue, but I don't like that, so I'll just leave it off. But now it's not going to turn off. Cool. Yeah. So overall, it's been a good machine, other than water getting in the top there after I spilt some filling up the top. It is a little bit awkward if you've got a cupboard up above to fill the tank up. But yeah, this is what it looks like on the inside. It's not dirty. I have cleaned it, but because it's so old, everything starts yellow. But it's not a big deal. Doesn't change the way the ice tastes. I have cracked the bottom tray there over the years. I'll show you why in a minute once that ice is made. What else has gone wrong? The finish isn't great. As you can see, it does actually rust. It shows rust spots. You spray it, that won't come off. Only other thing I don't like, it's making ice now, is the fan is at the back of this unit. So if you have it up against the wall like this, on a hot day, it takes longer to make ice. And if it's a real hot day, the first couple of batches will be really thin. But eventually it figures it out. Because you've only got your air vent in here, one in there, and then it pushes the hot air out here and then tries to get rid of it. Some models have the fan on the side, which is better. But yeah. So it's harvesting the ice now. Might as well have it open while we talk. The other negative of this type of unit is it's a little bit harder to clean because you have 2 water tanks. You got the one in the back, like I showed you earlier, just where you fill the water up. And the one in the bottom is pumped up into this. So this tank drains into this one, and then it goes over the top of this ice bar. That coil freezes, makes your ice. To melt it, it heats up, reverses the cycle, heats this up, and then it'll drop down. Once it's full, this little lever gets pushed down by ice, machine turns off. Only other problem with this setup is once the ice melts, all the water's going in here, and you'll turn it on after a night and you've accidentally left ice in there. The ice will be up sort of halfway up that the water will be halfway up that basket, and whatever ice you make is going to instantly melt because that is full of water when it shouldn't be. But it's not the easiest thing to do. You just empty your ice out, and then you don't have that problem before you go to bed basically, or when you want to finish using it. The other issue It's not a big issue for me, but it's the reason this basket's cracked. And I just turn this on so the ice is fairly thin, but it comes out sometimes in a full block. It doesn't break itself, especially if it's nearly full of ice. You have to manually break it, and that's what's broken that ice tray. But not a big deal. So yeah, would I recommend it? It can make a lot of ice given time. First sort of 30 minutes is fairly slow. Takes about 20 minutes per ice batch. Well, that's in a warm climate. But it'll make 18 kilos per 24 hours as long as you're dumping this ice into the freezer. Then you've got to keep in mind, if you put this ice in the freezer, it will stick together, and you've got to bash it out of the freezer because it's a wet ice. But yeah, it's a bit of a reliable unit, I must say that. I cleaned it out, blow all the dust out, no issues with that. But just because I spilt water on top of this, the control panel doesn't work properly anymore. As you can see, it's doing its job now, but every now and then it doesn't work quite right now. And when I first spilt the water, it wouldn't turn on at all. So that placement there is a little bit silly. I mean, it is my fault, but when you've got a small gap to put water in this hole, you're gonna have spills, basically. But yeah, there's a fill line. So that's your top water tank. But yeah, it's probably made, I would hate to guess how much ice the machine's made over the years. It'd be like 500 kilos of ice, maybe more. But if it lasted this long, I don't think that's too bad. But yeah, so I would recommend it. You just got to keep those few things in mind, that it does make, the thick cubes are good, the square cubes are good, but you got to break them up. And they're not great for cocktails. Nugget ice is better for cocktails, but everyone's got a preference on that. So yeah, definitely I would go get it. If you're after the cubed ice, this is the machine to go for.